Hello, comrades. My name's William Morrison. I'm your British Marxist-Leninist and anti-imperialist comrade based in Scotland. And this is episode 6 on my series on the Green Book by Muammar al-Gaddafi. This is the series where I take a video on each of the 28 points that Muammar al-Gaddafi highlights in his book, the Green Book. This is episode 6, and this is on popular conferences and people's committees. This was the political framework of Libya. This was the political structure of how Libya worked politically. So I'll just jump straight into it. Popular conferences are the only means to achieve popular democracy. Any system of government contrary to this method, the method of popular conferences, is undemocratic. All the prevailing systems of government in the world today will remain undemocratic unless they adopt this method. Popular conferences are the end of the journey of the masses in quest of democracy. Popular conferences and people's committees are the fruition of the people's struggle for democracy. Popular conferences and people's committees are not creations of the imagination. They are the product of thought which has absorbed all human experiments to achieve democracy. Direct democracy, if put into practice, is indisputably the ideal method of government. Because it is impossible to gather all people, however small the population, in one place so that they can discuss, discern, and decide policies, nations departed from direct democracy, which became an utopian idea, detached from reality. It was replaced by various theories of government, such as representative councils, party coalitions, and plebiscites, all of which isolated the masses and prevented them from managing their political affairs. These instruments of government, the individual, the class, the sect, the tribe, the parliament, and the party, struggling to achieve power, have plundered the sovereignty of the masses and monopolised politics and authority for themselves. The Green Book guides the masses to an unprecedented practical system of direct democracy. No two intelligent people can dispute the fact that direct democracy is the ideal, but until now, no practical method for its implementation has been devised. The third universal theory, however, now provides us with a practical approach to direct democracy. The problem of democracy in the world will finally be solved. All that is left before the masses now is the struggle to eliminate all prevailing forms of dictatorial governments, be the parliament, sect, tribe, class, one-party system, two-party system, or multi-party system, which falsely call themselves democracies. True democracy has but one method and one theory. The dissimilarity and diversity of the systems claiming to be democratic do, in fact, provide evidence that they are not so. Authority of the people has but one face, which can only be realised through popular conferences and people's committees. There can be no democracy without popular conferences and committees everywhere. First, the people are divided into basic popular conferences. Each basic popular conference chooses its secretariat. The secretariats of all of the popular conferences together form the non-basic popular conferences. Subsequently, the masses of the basic popular conferences select administrative people's committees to replace government administration. All public institutions are run by people's committees, which will be accountable to the basic popular conferences, which dictate the policy and supervise its execution. Thus, both the administration and the supervision become the people's, and the outdated definition of democracy is the supervision of the government by the people, becomes obsolete. It will be replaced by the true definition. Democracy is the supervision of the people by the people. All citizens who are members of these popular conferences belong vocationally and functionally to the various sectors and have, therefore, to form themselves into their own professional popular conferences, in addition to being, by virtue of citizenship, members of the basic popular conferences or people's committees. Subjects dealt with by the popular conferences and people's committees will eventually take their final shape in the General People's Congress, which brings together the secretariats of the popular conferences and people's committees. Resolutions of the General People's Congress, which meets annually or periodically, are passed on to the popular conferences and people's committees, which undertake the execution of those resolutions through the responsible committees, which are, in turn, accountable to the basic popular conferences. The General People's Congress is not a gathering of persons or members such as those of parliaments, but rather a gathering of the popular conferences and people's committees. Thus, the problem of the instrument of government is naturally solved, and all dictatorial instruments disappear. The people become the instrument of government, and the dilemma of democracy in the world will conclusively be solved. So that was it. That was part 6, episode 6 of my episode on the Green Book. I just read out the passage on the popular conferences and people's committees. I understand that bit at the end might have been a little bit complicated. Don't overthink it, all right? I am very bad for overthinking. Don't overthink it. It's not that complicated. I have a picture here which helps me, but if you have a copy of the Green Book, then it should come with a picture as well, or you can check it out on Google, the diagram that is actually in the Green Book. You can check that out. But essentially, yeah, there's a basic popular conference that has the mass of the population. They choose a secretariat through direct democracy. They choose a secretariat. And that secretariat, all the secretariats establish this other higher kind of level, which they represent the people. Which is kind of a question that I have. Isn't this just another form of representative democracy? How direct is this? How just direct actually is this? I respect and appreciate and recognize the fact that it is direct to an extent, because he said that it's up to the people to supervise themselves. It's up to the people to supervise themselves. They regulate and organize themselves. No one is above them, no one is below them. They are the people, and they organize themselves through direct democracy, through coming together and discerning policies and arguing and debating in these large conferences. I get that and I respect that. That is direct. That's a hell of a lot more direct than we have in representative democracies in the West. However, this body of secretariats, they are a representative body. So I understand that they might not have more political power than the basic conferences, but it's still a representative body. Individuals still cannot represent themselves fully to the extent that Gaddafi would perhaps like. So I don't see how this solves the quest for democracy, but it is certainly a good idea, and it certainly it worked in Libya, and it was fantastic in Libya. It definitely worked. So I do respect that. What else do I have to say? Yeah, I mean, essentially, the key takeaway for this video is that Muammar al-Gaddafi was a strong supporter of direct democracy, and the best way that he thought that direct democracy could be realised and achieved is through these huge, massive popular conferences and then people's committees. And these people's committees, they're the ones that kind of shaped and resoluted the actual policies proposed by the popular conferences. That was his ideal or easier way to achieve proper democracy. So that's the key takeaway here. Direct democracy, in his opinion, was a lot better than representative democracy. It was more pure, more transparent, more direct to the mass, and it didn't divide society up into sections. It didn't divide it up to class, to the party, to race, to sexuality. It didn't divide society up. It was just the mass of the people coming together and individually representing themselves through popular conferences. And that sounds pretty direct, and it's more direct than anything we have currently right now. So yeah, big props to that. I think that it's a good idea, and it definitely worked in Libya, and I wish we'd known if it had worked other places, but of course Muammar al-Gaddafi didn't get that chance. He was murdered by the Western imperialists. He was brutally murdered because Libya went against the imperialist geopolitical agenda of the West. I'll see you in the next episode. The next episode is The Law of Society, where we talk about law and order in Libyan society. But until then, I'll see you around, and yeah, have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.